All right. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to close my chat and rely on you to tell me. Okay, this is Budgeting Made Easy. And let's jump in. So first, whenever I budget, and I budget every day, I sit down with students for my day job, and we do 12-month budgets. I think it's critical that when you, as your own family, your own person, you do a 12-month budget. Just because there's lots of expenses that only come up once a year, like Christmas, that's a big one, or an oil change or car registration. There's lots of expenses that only come up periodically. So a 12-month budget is pretty critical to really understand your complete finances. And so to do that, we have to look at, how much money you earn in a year, number one. Number two, how much you're going to spend on each category. And then three, which is just as critical as those two, it's great to have a plan. You need to have some kind of a money system to help you achieve that plan. So today I'm going to spend the bulk of my time on number three. I'm just going to go over topically really quickly the first two. That's where I'm going to have to rely on you to really ferret that information out. So determine how much money you're going to earn in a year. The best way to do that is to look at your past. How much have you earned in the past? And so I would tell you just go to your pay stubs, dump out the last 12 months worth of pay stubs, and enter that into a spreadsheet. So it's going to look something like this. I just threw together a spreadsheet. I got all 12 months, and then I total at the end. So let's say if I made $4,000 a month to make it easy, I'd have 48 grand plus maybe a little side hustle I did for 500 bucks. I'd have that much money. There's my income. Great. Then determine how much you're going to spend on each category in a year. Now, again, the past is the best indicator of the future. A lot of people will say when you're budgeting to start tracking. And tracking's nice, but my gosh, is it tedious. And if you're going to start tracking today for the next 30 days, there's a high likelihood that you're just going to stop and you had that momentum and it's just you're going to burn out. So really, I think the best thing to do is just go onto a computer, not your iPhone, go onto a computer and look at all of your transactions and download them. Dump them to an Excel spreadsheet. So you truly have a list, a date, and every single transaction you made in the past 12 months. And you do this for any way that you spend money. If you have checking accounts, credit cards, any method you use, you got to dump this information out. So I would say literally take a Saturday afternoon, 3 or 4 hours, if you really want to have a solid budget, instead of starting to track and then getting back to this in in a month or 2 months, because you're just going to fade. So just to show you, because I talked to a person the other day that they didn't know that you can dump everything out of your bank and see all your transactions. So I'm walking you through. I just went to my transactions, and on a computer, it'll have download. So you click on download, and you'll see something like this. This is my bank's way of showing me I can either dump it to Quicken or comma separated values, which goes right into Excel. So I select that. I select the account that I want to dump from, and then do a date range. So I just showed you how you could do from the past, from February through the end of February, 12 months later. So you can dump it all out and then hit download. Once you get that, you're going to get Excel spreadsheets with dates and expenses. That's where then you've got to start categorizing, figuring out this expense, what category do I want to put it into? Now, you can go as crazy or as generic as you want. You can have a single like entertainment and all the things go into entertainment, or you can break it out into fun, eating out, snacks, movies, hobbies, clothes, skiing, whatever you want to do. This is completely up to you if you want to go very itemized or generic. It just makes, if you go very itemized, you'll have a very long spreadsheet. And that's fine because in the end, you're going to enter in everything into the month that it fell. Some of these will come up every now and then. Women, a haircut maybe every 6 months, or a really fun Christmas, $1,000. So I just threw numbers in here to show you this is kind of what you'll end up with. And this bottom little number, this is going to tell you whether you got ahead that last year or if you went behind. So this is the hard part. This will take you, 2, 3, 4 hours. Once you're done, you put those numbers in, okay? Then I want you to save that original. So you can always go back in time and say, oh, this is how we used to be. This is how I used to live. and you'll make a copy of it. And then you start adjusting. You start saying, where could we spend less? Could I earn more? Do I need to do another side hustle? Just out of curiosity, how many, when you have a deficit like that, is it better to earn your way out of your financial problem or to spend less? Spend less, I'm hearing. Uh, does anybody know how much more efficient it is to spend less? Is it like 10% more efficient? 20% maybe?
You're saving taxes and a bunch of other stuff.
So look at this. You guys are getting this. The other group I couldn't do because of all the issues. I had to push through it quickly. So this is the tax rate for single filers. Anybody single, your first 14,600, you pay basically 8%, 7.6 Social Security and Medicare. And then the next, if you make $14,000 to $26,000, you pay 23% tax. If you're like Reed, well, Reed's probably this 35%, 61 to 115,000. He's paying 35% tax. The rest of us, we're just in this lower level. Now, for married people, all these numbers double. So 29 to 52,000. A lot of us will find us there. A lot of us will find us here in this 25%. And again, Reed, he's probably in this 35%. So I got to keep going up. Okay. So here are the taxes. That's your marginal tax rate. So keep that in mind. So I created this fun little thing. So let's say I'm getting into baseball with my kid, or lacrosse. My son wants to play lacrosse. So we want to buy a lacrosse stick that costs $100. If I go to Al Sporting Goods, I pick up the stick that costs $100. I walk up to the front. I say, here's $100. Can I leave with that lacrosse stick? Are they going to let me leave with that for $100? No. There's sales tax. We pay 7% sales tax. So I really need $107 to buy something that costs $100. So how much money do I have to earn? Now, if I was just in that 23% tax bracket, so back here in the married, if I'm in this 23% tax bracket, this is what my life will look like. I would have to earn, if I earned $100 and I happen to give a 10% donation to my church, Social Security hits me at 8%, and Medicare, Utah tax, 5%, federal tax, I'd have $67 left. So if I earn 100, I can't go buy that lacrosse stick. All right, well, how about if I earned 120? Surely, then I could afford it, right? No, only $80 left. Okay, well, let's keep going. How about $140? Goodness, I'm still not there. How about $160? I have to earn $160 in order to pay a donation to my charity, to pay my taxes, in order to go to the store and buy something that costs $100. I got to earn 160 bucks. So for me, I am 60% more efficient to just not buy so much stuff. If I wanted to earn my way out of any financial problem, I got to earn 1.6 times as much as the stuff that I want to buy. Isn't that crazy? Now, I'm sure none of you here buy things with credit cards and don't pay it off every month. I'm sure you maybe know someone because you don't do this, I'm sure. Look what happens if you decide to say, you know what? I know somebody who wants to pay 29% more by using a credit card. Well, those poor people have to basically pay $138 then for that $100 item. Look how much money I'd have to earn if I wanted to have $138. So maybe $180, would that work? No, how about 200? I'm getting close. How about 206? I'd have to earn more than double the actual cost of the thing sitting there in the store if I want to use a credit card and I don't pay that credit card off in full. So hopefully nobody here does that. You use a credit card, maybe you pay it off in full. You don't jump into that extra 46% that you want to spend. Okay, so hopefully that helped you all realize that you're way more efficient to just buy fewer things, spend less. That's going to be the easiest way to balance your budget. I'm all for earning more money, but you're much more efficient to spend less. Okay, so what you need to do is once you've got all your categories, you've created your plan, you've got a positive amount at the end. Well, while you're doing that, there's basically fixed expenses and then variable expenses. The fixed expenses, those are the ones where you've signed a contract. You signed up for a mortgage or a car loan or a phone loan, something like that. To break that, to save money there, you have to break your contract or get a new contract or refinance your home. So, for example, $146 phone plan. I just want to share this as a way of looking at a category. I spend $146 a month. Every 2 years, I trade in my iPhone and I get the newest, greatest iPhone. So 2 months ago, I went to AT&T and I'm now paying $146 a month for 5 phones, all iPhone 15 Pro. I got 3 more Maxes. And I spent $146 a month for the next 2 years to have those 5 phones and all brand new phones. So it's a pretty good deal. And if you have a better deal, come and let me know. I'm always happy to find a better deal, but I spend about that much a month for 5 phones. Unlimited, all you can. $2,000 beanie. This is my favorite beanie. It is a $2,000 beanie. You've got the Utah State. It's a Carhartt. All you people who don't understand the value of beanies, they're like sweaters for your head. They give you a little hug every day. This is my $2,000 beanie. I had car insurance and home insurance all through one person. And I thought I was, saving, I was only spending like $80 a vehicle. It was pretty cheap. I had 5 vehicles and my house, all for $4,000 a year for my car insurance and home insurance. USU Credit Union sent out their little flyer, get a free beanie if you get a free quote. I thought, well, I love my beanies. So I filled it out. USU Credit Union, they're a brokerage. They go and then contact 25 different companies. They come back and say, hey, this is how much you could save if you went with this company. So I did this like 3 months ago, and they came back and hooked me up with Progressive, and I'm saving $2,000. My bill now is $2,000 a year for 5 vehicles and my house all covered. So I love this $2,000 beanie. Love it. But basically, go through every single category, say, can I save some money here? And save yourself some money. So this is after you went through and you decided you're going to spend less on eating out. You're going to start putting some money for, a remodel or a boat. You want to adjust this so that you now have it figured out exactly how much you want to earn and how much you want to spend on every single category. And then take note of your categories. So like this one, I'd say eating out, 100, fun, 75. So 175 a month, it would like this example. Once you have that determined, how much you're going to spend, and you do that for, figure out how much you want to spend on groceries as your family, how much you want to spend eating out. How are you going to stick to that amount? That's the rest of this meeting. We're going to talk about how do we stick to that amount? Those fixed expenses, those are kind of hard. You have to really create a new contract. But the variable expenses, the food, fun, gifts, vacations, how are you going to do that? The health savings account. So my medical, I'll tell you right now, I don't worry about any medical cost that I have anymore. Because, and I've got a whole HSA presentation, so Stephen, that tell you the benefits of the high deductible plan with the HSA. Just off the board, they'll save you money. The only time they won't is if you're dually enrolled, if you and your spouse both work at Utah State. That's the only instance where I found that the high deductible plan isn't always the cheapest with the HSA. But for everybody else, it is. So the HSA, I've been putting aside for several years, I've been putting aside into the HSA the maximum amount that I can. I did that for about 4 or 5 years. And so I have about $27,000 now in my HSA. This current year that we're in, my wife and I decided every 4 or 5 years I like to build a house. And so we're getting ready to build one. And so we stopped putting in anything into our HSA last year. So I didn't put a single penny into my HSA. Guess how much my HSA grew on its own? Now you can invest your money that's in an HSA. It went up over $5,000. So I didn't put any money in. My healthcare costs are all covered. And I actually get ahead every single year in my HSA. It's hit that sweet little spot where it just grows. I don't have to put money in. I probably will start again once I'm done building, but I don't have to. So I don't worry about my medical costs because you have that out-of-pocket max too. So I'm good. HSAs are great, everybody. Talk to me later about HSAs. They're fantastic. Okay, so adopt and implement a system. This is in the way. Loading. Okay. So you want to adopt a system that helps you achieve your plan. That's what we're going to talk about now. So what is a system? A system is multiple parts that work together for the same function. What are the parts of your money system? How many of you have, a checking account, a savings account, a credit card? Maybe you have a spreadsheet or maybe an app that you're trying to use to track everything. Hopefully everybody has a 401A if you're not on the URS, or a taxable brokerage account. Does anybody use cash and envelopes still? What are your processes of your money system? How many of you have the pay and pray system, where you just buy stuff and pray you've got the money to cover it? How about the swipe and gripe? Swipe your credit card and then you gripe about how big the bill is at the end of the month, every single month. A lot of people do the swipe and gripe. How many of you, track it in a spreadsheet or on an app or on the back of a piece of paper or on an envelope? These are all systems. The cash envelope system, it's a good system. It works. Those are all systems. Okay, so your system really should be one that is easy to use. It automatically will allocate the correct amount into every category each month. It will track how much you've spent in each category for you, and it will show you exactly how much you have left to spend in each category, and it'll prevent you from spending more than what you have. How many of you would like a system like that? Automates it, won't let you spend more than you have, tracks it all for you. No more you tracking anything in a spreadsheet. Well, let me tell you about this system. All right, my first money system. I served a mission for my church many years ago in France. And so it was the first time in my life that they gave me a regular paycheck. Twice a month or every 2 weeks, they give me a check. I'd cash it and we'd get French francs. And so I would literally take 40 francs from every paycheck and I'd put it in a sock in my bottom drawer, hidden from my companion, and I would sock my money away. And then I'd just have the rest of it and I just spend, buying food until it was gone and I'm done. And next paycheck, I'd sock away another 40 francs. I kept doing this month after month after month. And I met with my mission president one time and I said, what should I do with all this money I've got? I've got all this money. He said, seriously? He said, we have missionaries who come in and say, we need to get a loan from the mission office because we're just spending too much. He said, just go spend it. Go have fun. So I went out and I bought 2 sweet suits and like 4 pairs of fancy French shoes. And I was decked out as a missionary in France. It was fantastic. Okay, so that was my first system. Loved it, the cash envelope idea, socking my money away. My second money system, I got married and my wife, she handled the finances for the first while. And so this was her system. She literally had an index card that she carried in her wallet. And we had 4 categories: groceries, household miscellaneous, clothes, eating out. So we gave ourselves a $900 grocery budget, $50 eating out, clothes $200. And so she would just track every time she'd make a purchase. She'd write down, this is my transaction, this is how much it costs. And then she'd tabulate every now and then. So we knew how much money we had. Good for her. After a few years, she was like tired of running the finance. And she said, honey, it's back to you. So I said, oh, well, I've learned a lot from having the cash system, the cash envelope. I love that. I'm not into this kind of tracking. So I had the idea. Well, what if I did this? My money system. I take all my paychecks, all my money comes into my one main checking account. Ignore all the stuff that says there for the moment. I always like to have $2,000 at the beginning of the month so it can do what I'm going to tell you. That main checking account, that's my workhorse. It pays all my monthly bills, everything that I've signed up a contract to pay. My utilities, housing, any car insurance, any of that stuff. It also does my periodic bills, like car registration, an oil change, a haircut, stuff that comes up irregularly. I have a credit card, and that credit card I use for gas and subscriptions. Click that out of the way. So I have a Costco card. I'll tell you more about that in a minute, but I buy my gas mostly there at Costco, and I save 4% on every purchase. Plus Costco is generally like 15 to 20 cents cheaper per gallon, period. All right. Then I had this brainy idea of, I'm just going to open up a new checking account, and I'm going to call it my grocery and clothing account. And it's a joint account. So my wife and I both have a debit card to it. And we have set up a monthly automated transfer. We decided we're going to spend X. Basically, it's like $200 per person in our family for groceries and clothing. Every month goes into this account. So when I go buy bananas, I swipe my debit card. And when my wife buys the bulk of the groceries, she swipes her card and it comes out of this account. And that's what we spend. It's in a checking account, so I can't spend more than what's in there. It'll tell me insufficient funds. Every month while I'm asleep in the middle of the night on the 1st, boom, so many $100 goes into our checking account. I don't track anything. My bank, if I want to go see everything, I can open my bank, list every single transaction. Because it's all in one account, I don't have to do any math. It's just there. It tells me how much we have to spend before we go spending. Just open up our app. We've got $400. Now, truth be told, I like to seed our account with $1,000. So our grocery account, we try to never let it go below 1,000. We treat that like as our zero, so that in case lot goods come along and we want to spend a few hundred more, we might dip down to 700, maybe 600 if it's a really great sale. But then over the next several months, we try to, as money comes in, we try to get that back up to that 1,000. So that's our zero. And I can tell you honestly how much money I spent for the last 10 years, because it's the same amount every month that goes into this account. And I don't have to do any of that tracking. After doing that for a while, we realized this system works kind of nice. Let's open another account because we've got kids. We like to spend money eating out and have fun. So we set up a monthly automated transfer. Right now it's $100. So we spend up to $100 a month on eating out, Little Caesars pizza for the kids, whatever it may be, but it's in its own little checking account, own debit card. So I carry in my wallet, and here's my wonderful little wallet. It's very thin. I just have a few debit cards and credit card and anything else. I've got 2 cards in there, the fun and the eating out, and the fun one has a fun little sticker on it, so I know the differentiates too. And so it helps us stick to that budget because it's all we got. We spend it near the end of the month. We don't eat out because we got to wait until next month when we get another $100 loaded up. We treat it like a gift card. When the money's gone, it's gone. Every month we get loaded up with another $100. Well, that works so well. My wife and I, we decided, getting a little more affluent in our life, our older age, we'd like to spend a little bit of fun money. So my best marriage advice is to have a fun account for you and a fun account for your spouse. Regardless of who makes all the money in the family, you give yourself the same amount every month. My wife, she buys shoes. I take my money and I invest it, and someday I'm going to buy something really cool. So that my card actually sits at home. I don't know where it's at, but someday I'll pull it out and buy something. Every now and then I do buy something. So we have all those accounts with those monthly automated transfers. Life is great. And after a few years of that, we realized, Christmas keeps coming up and biting us in the butt. So we decided we want to spend so much money on Christmas per kid, so much money on birthdays, and a little bit extra for wedding gifts. And so we have a certain amount of dollars that just goes into a gift account every single month. And then when Christmas rolls around, we've got the money. My wife pulls out the card in November and starts buying stuff. And we don't spend more than what we've budgeted because we've got the money there and we've told ourselves, well, that's what we have. That's what it's for. So we've always got a little bit of money for a gift when it comes up. After that, so that's all the spending side. Then what I like to do at the end of every month, so 12 times a year on the last day of the month, I go into my checking account, and any money I have over $2,000, I transfer to my high yield savings account. So the next month I'm beginning fresh $2,000. I do $2,000, so I've got enough to go into all those accounts, the groceries, the fun, the personal fund, the gifts. So I've got enough money, I don't run out. So I'm starting every month with $2,000. At the end of the month, anything I have over $2,000, my wife and I can look at ourselves and say, hey, sweet, honey, we got ahead $400. Cha-ching, or whatever it may be. That way I do a monthly reconciliation of how we did. Occasionally, we may have to pull some money back from savings if we decided to buy a large purchase that isn't part of this. So like, say, furniture. We decided to buy some furniture a couple months ago. So we had to make a furniture purchase. I had to pull some money back from my savings. All of you, if you're not on the URS, you probably have a 401A.
Yeah. Sorry, we've got some questions on the chat.
Yeah.
That I want to ask. One person's asking, are these all separate checking accounts?
These are all separate checking accounts, truly.
Do you do them at different banks, or they're the same?
They're all done at the same bank so that I can open up my one app and I can see all my amounts.
But probably different debit cards?
Each account gets its own debit card. If you have a joint account, you'll get a card, your spouse will get a card. Yes.
So, and someone made a comment, with an LOL at the end, but they said so pretty much the sock method, but
it's the cash envelope system, but instead of using physical envelopes and cash, each one is a checking account. So it's a slim little debit card instead of having to carry around cash. Because I love the idea of the cash envelope, but I don't love the idea of going to an ATM and pulling out several $1,000s every single month, having thousands on me, a big old wad, have to have a big wallet, and then having envelopes that I got to sort through. I'd have to have a man purse. So I just did it digitally and automation, and it's safer. So that's what I've done. Great question.
Someone on chat also mentioned they do a similar thing for the gifts, or they have different. They do something similar, I guess. So what you're
yeah, I love this system. So on that side, that's the spending side. On the other side, hopefully you all have a health savings account, and the health savings account, that money comes directly from your paycheck, so it avoids taxes. And I tell you, max that out every year. USU offers additional retirement accounts. You've got the 401k, the 403b, the 457b, and then the Roth versions of those. So if you have extra money, once your high yield savings account has hit 3 to 6 months worth of your expenses, your monthly expenses, then you start investing more money down below. Now, my high yield savings account, I have an account with Vanguard, and so I get 4.7% back on my money that's just sitting in a savings account. So I don't have like a travel account or a yearly vacation account, because I've done the math. Well, it's just better for me to keep the money in the high yield savings account, and when it's time to go on the trip, pull out the $1,000 or $2,000, because I will have earned like $400 or more interest by just letting it sit there until the trip comes up. So I don't like to have too much just sitting in savings accounts. I keep most of it in a single high yield savings account. Retirement accounts, taxable investment accounts. I've got other taxable investment accounts for more, like for building my next home or next car, things like that. And then lastly, I also have real estate investments. So you can invest in all these things. You can invest in a business. So this is my money system. I've got so much of it automated on the things I want to control. And then, at the end of every month, I start moving money. Once my savings is hit, then I start investing my money. Anything I get over that month, I invest that money. So it's constantly rolling. Yeah.
So I use my credit card for a lot more things. I guess I'm just wondering if it's beneficial to only use it for the gas and subscriptions rather than using it for everything.
The question came up about credit cards. There are a lot of people, show you my next slide, credit cards. Yeah.
Before you go on to that, there is a question. Someone's asking if you're willing to share your 2 spreadsheets for.
Oh, sure.
The Excel spreadsheets for yearly budgeting and all that.
Yeah, if you want spreadsheets, I am the spreadsheet man. I have another spreadsheet that I have listed almost every conceivable expenditure you may have, just to have you think about it. But really, if you dump all of your past year's expenses, you're going to find where you spend your money, and you just need to create a category for it. So I can give you a blank one, but I'd prefer you really say how you spend your money, and you give yourself your own category, because you may not buy, piano lessons for your kids. So, I'll give you one that has listed, but it may not be appropriate. So yes, I will. Credit cards. So a lot of people like to use credit cards, run everything through a credit card so they can save that 1%, 1.5%, 2%. They tell themselves, I'm going to spend the money anyways. Why not save 1%, 2%, 2%, right? It makes logical sense. It really does. So I do use credit cards. I have 3. I've got my Costco card for gas. Gas, at Costco is always about 15 to 20% cheaper already. And then you save 4% if you're using the city card that goes with it. So at $3 a gallon, that's another 12 cents. So I save generally about 32 cents a gallon on my gas by using the Costco card. That value at the end of the year, because I live in Fielding, I drive 60 miles every day, it more than pays for my membership, and my wife gets to shop at Costco. So it's a win-win. I have a Lowe's card. It saves me 5% on anything I buy at Lowe's. I like to build homes every 4 or 5 years. And when you spend $100,000, $5,000 off is nice. So, 5 to 10 grand a year, or when I build that house, it's worth it. So I absolutely use my Lowe's card for that. And then I have a miscellaneous card. This is for like a car repair. Well, I know I'm going to have to pay for the car repair. I don't have a separate category of checking just for car repairs. So I'll use my credit card and then pay it off. Reimbursements. If you ever do anything like my church calling, I'll do something. I know I'm gonna get reimbursed for it. So it's just money in, money out. I might as well save 2%. For a large purchase. So my wife and I, our furniture finally broke down. We looked at our situation like, it's time to buy a new couch. So I used a credit card and then paid it off. But all of those purchases are cognizant decisions of what do we want to do? Like a family vacation, we'll decide, looking at our savings, how much do we want to spend? And I'll use a credit card for the vacation and then pay it off, transfer money from our savings to there. So absolutely, I still use credit cards. It's just anything you want to control. I think I have this here. If you really want to control something, because it's the food and the fun that really get you in trouble. And credit cards they're built to incentivize you to spend more so you can save that 1 or 2%. But the reality is if you buy things with credit cards, people who buy things with credit cards buy more things. So it's really better to not save that, you spend $20,000 to save $200. It's better to let that money go and just buy fewer things of fun and eating out and save more money. So I've decided to let that little 1% go on the things that I want to control. And I want to control my food and my fun. And so I do. So great question, but yeah, I still use credit cards. Okay. Start small. I know I showed you my big system and it has tons of accounts. And I even have more I'm going to tell you about, but it's got a lot. It's overwhelming. I totally get it. So just start small. Open a single account, set up a monthly transfer, just something you want to control in your life. If you have a spouse, make it joint so you both have a card, and then seed the account with like at least $100 and then try never to go below that 100. Okay, so that's the way I'd say just start. I started the same way. I just started with my groceries. I loved that. Then we did fun. Then we did personal fun. Then we did gifts. So it's pretty simple. You don't have to go all in, but you can. Not every bank is the same. When I originally wanted to do this, I was at a particular bank, which will remain unnamed. And I came to them with this idea, 15 years ago. And I said, I want to have all these accounts. And they're like, well, that's fine. But if you don't have a minimum of $500, we'll charge you $20. If you don't, well, you could waive it if you do at least 10 transactions. I'm like, I do not want to have to worry about all that crap. And they said, well, that's what I said, but there's other banks that have other free stuff. And they're like, well, this is what we do. So what did I have to do? Fired my bank. And they were paying me nothing. I mean, 0.001 maybe in savings. So I fired my bank and I went to a different bank that lets me have as many accounts as I want. So just know if you go to your bank and you say, hey, I want to open a new account, there's 2 banks that I know of that won't let you have more than 1 checking account. And I'll name them in case you're there. So any tiers. Chase Bank, you can only have 1 checking account, and America First. They only let you have 1 checking account. Every other bank in Cache Valley, you can have as many accounts as you want. Go crazy. Go ham. So just know if you love this system, you may have to do what I did and fire your bank. But I'm not working for banks, so I really don't care. And banks don't really pay anything either. Go get a high yield savings account, online bank or Fidelity or Vanguard or something like that.
Did you say Chase?
Chase only lets you have 1 checking. You do. You must have been grandfathered in or something because you were grandfathered in. So the new Chase, no.
Chase, no? Okay.
Maybe they've changed it. Maybe they've caught the vision, the light. If they have, great. But if not, just know that you may have to change banks. Okay. Bonus. I forgot like 10 more minutes. I say children. All right. I've got 6 kids, 4 still living at home. So my system for my kids is this. I went out and I bought a till. So I wanted to teach my kids the value of work and the value of money and the value of investing. So last person did ask me, does this work? It is a little bit of work. So I bought a till and I loaded up with cash, 1s, 5s, 10s, 20s, and 100s, because I do have a 16-year-old who does make a little bit of money. And so I have 4 Ziploc baggies, each one for each kid for charitable donations. I've got another 4 for their fun spending money. And then they each have a savings account under me so I can log in, I can see their savings account. And then I created 4 Guardian brokerage accounts. So I think I'm with Charles Schwab. It was TD Ameritrade. So anyway, I've got 4 accounts for them. My process. So anytime my kids earn money, and let's I don't give an allowance, but like when they're learning piano, I'll pay them like 50 cents a page that they pass off without any errors. So they can make a little bit of money. You know, my youngest is 8. So as they do a little bit of work or any chore that I ask them to do that I'm going to pay them for, they earn money. They come to me and I say, okay, here's your money. So I pull out of my till, you know, here's $5. And then they turn around and pay me back. We encourage them to give a 10% donation. We don't make them, but I do make them pay half of it back into savings. They have to put half of it immediately into savings. That's where I draw the line. And then they can have up to 40% on fun. And so we put the money into the charity bag, the savings, I put it back in the till, and then I take that money and I transfer it. So I'll show you, I transfer that to their savings account. And then once it builds up a little bit, I take it from their savings account to their brokerage account and I invest it for them. I let them pick what they want to invest in. My oldest one, he got Walmart stock. It's actually been doing pretty good. And we do lots of ETFs and mutual funds. Mutual funds are really nice because you can put just like $5, $10. So my 8-year-old, it's easy to just put into a mutual fund. And then periodically once a month, you know, I'll say, hey, your money, you earned this much this month. And so they're all my kids are very cognizant of how their investments are doing. My 16-year-old, bless his heart, he is, you know, earned over his lifetime, like he's put in $5,000. And the past 3 years, his investments have earned $1,000. So it's like, dude, way to go. You didn't have to work for that. You were sleeping and earning that money. So my kids all get it. So here's an example. So let's say they earned $100. Hopefully they'll put 10 into a charity. I make them save 50 and they can put up to 40 in fun. Now I do a little interesting thing. I incentivize them. I say, now I'll give you a bonus. If you invest the whole thing, I'll give you a bonus 10%. So they can either do the top and do at least 10 charity, 50 savings, and up to 40 fun. Sometimes they'll do more in savings, less in fun. Or if they go for the full investment, we put 10% into their charity and the whole 100. So I give them an extra 10% immediately into their investment. So I incentivize my children to invest. And it's kind of fun because they'll take like one paycheck and keep their savings spending, but then the next 3 or 4, they'll say, oh, I'll invest it, I'll invest it, I'll invest it. It's nice when the stock market's going up because I tell them, oh, hey, look how you're doing. You just earned $40 last month. So there's my bonus for kids. And that just says what I just said.
Got some questions.
Okay, questions. Yeah, hit me with questions.
Someone was wanting, I know you said it, but I can't remember. What institution did you use for Guardian brokerage accounts?
Any brokerage account, you can do Guardian accounts. Okay. So it's not any particular one. I actually have a Fidelity account, I have a Vanguard account, and I have a Charles Schwab account. I wanted to learn about them because I meet with students all the time. I want to be familiar with all the interfaces. So I've got investments in all of them. It's just like another bank account or a Venmo account. You can have as many accounts as you want. Tricky thing is, you know, keep track of all the passwords.
Then someone said, is the kids' savings for retirement or what circumstances do they get to withdraw from the investments?
Once they turn 18, a Guardian account relinquishes ownership back to them. So I don't care what the kid does, it's their money. But until they hit 18, this is their savings, it's their investment, and they don't touch it. So it's locked up until they hit 18, then it's full access. Yeah.
You just never have cash for your own personal.
The question is, what do I do about cash? And I hate cash now. I really do, because to track cash, you got to do something. And so cash is a pain in the butt. But I have a senior who does sports. And if you go to a local gym, you save money by paying cash instead of swiping your card, even your debit card, credit card. They charge you like an extra $1.50 processing fee. So because of that, I have to deal with cash. So I've always got like a 20 in my wallet. And frankly, it's just for school sports. I try to avoid cash when I can. Great question about cash.
I've asked about access to the spreadsheets. I told them to go ahead and email you just because I figured.
Yeah, you can contact me. I'll share spreadsheets. We'll end up sharing this presentation to you. If you want, you know, if you talk last group wanted to talk more about HSAs, how fantastic they are, and you can invest your money in HSAs. I do a presentation, so if you want me to come, I can come to your department and just give all of your employees a presentation about USU's different healthcare options and why the high deductible plan is almost always hands down cheaper just to begin with. Plus, you can invest your money and have it start making money. So I'm happy to do that.
We did have someone who asked about that earlier in the chat, and I didn't bring it up because I didn't want to derail your, but they were asking about, we had $55,000 medical expenses one year. Is the HSA still worth it?
It's always worth it because it has an out-of-pocket max just like the other plans do. Absolutely. Yeah.
I thought I was under the impression that some of it didn't roll over to the next year. Is that not true?
The question is an HSA question about if the money that's in there, if it rolls over from year to year, and the answer is absolutely it rolls over. That's why it's so much better than the flex spending. The flex, you can only put in 3,700, I think 3,750 a year, and you have to use it or lose it. HSA, you can put money in there, you can invest it, it rolls over. You quit Utah State, it's still with you, it's your money. It has so many amazing things. After age 65, you can actually pull it out for non-medical stuff. You do have to pay income tax on it. So in my opinion, it's better to invest in an HSA first before any kind of an IRA or Roth IRA, because that money will always be with you until the day you die. On a medical expense, you're always saving whatever tax bracket you're in. And you can pull it out to go buy a car. If you've got like $1 million in it when you're 65, you can pull it out. It then becomes like an IRA. Yeah.
Tax-free in and out.
It's tax-free in and growth and out on anything medical till you die. If you pull it out after 65 on other stuff that's non-medical, then it's treated just like an IRA and you're taxed on the income and whatever tax bracket you got. So it's great. It's completely safe.
Is that only human medical, or that pets?
I don't know about pets. Stephen, do you know?
I'm pretty sure it wouldn't do for pets because it is IRS related. I think it has to be a dependent that you claim on your tax forms.
Yeah. So I don't know about pets, but we're thinking no. Dealing with an HSA. Any other questions? Got a minute. Yeah.
I just have a question, just how you do this, because I'll have to figure it out for whatever banking. So when you deposit your check, you have all those different accounts. Can you split your check, or do you go in there and be like, okay, I'm going to do this?
So you can do a couple things. USU actually lets you send money up to, I think, 3 different direct deposits. So we send our money for our groceries and the other one directly from Utah State. So every month, $1,000, whatever it is, goes right into that. From within my checking account, whenever you have more than one account, when you transfer money, the first time you transfer the money, your bank will ask you, is this a one-time transfer or is it ongoing? You just click, it's ongoing. And then it'll say, how often do you want it? How frequent? You can say weekly, monthly, bi-weekly. You can set up a day. So I just say on the first day of every month, money goes into this account, this account, this account, this account. They're called scheduled transfers, and they just remain until you go in and cancel it or change it. So I just set up these automated transfers. Right. You can set up all kinds of automated transfers, automated payments within your bank. Use your bank. You get a bank that you really like and have them work for you. I mean, you're giving them your money. They turn around and take your money and lend it out to 9 different people and make money on your money, and they pay you almost nothing back. So go to a bank that gives you the services at least you want. I don't hardly earn any interest from my bank. I make my money in real investments and the stocks and bonds and high yield savings accounts. But go to a bank that can do this checking system that you want.
And all your checking accounts are free.
All free, absolutely. No minimum. I can go down to 0. I do not have, turn off any kind of an overdraft fee. You want to be declined. Don't go negative and get charged $20. So do not have any overdraft protection. You want to be denied. And they're all free.
Do you like to share what?
I'm currently at Key Bank, just because at the time when I switched, I just looked for what good promotions were out there. Key Bank will offer every quarter they change. It's like either $300, $250, or $200. So when I switched, I got $300. My wife got $300, and my oldest kid got $300. So why not make some money when you transfer? USU Credit Union. So they have a deal for kids, I think 14 to 25. If they open an account, they get $300. So my oldest son, he's 16, getting ready to turn 17. We've decided to move him to this system so that he's got a fun debit card and doesn't have to carry cash. And so we went to USU Credit Union, and they paid him $150 already. After a year, he gets the last like $100. So he's going to make $300. He's got a debit card that now when I pay him, I transfer money to him. I do it through Venmo because I don't have US or credit union. So I Venmo him it. It shows up in his checking account. He's got his little transfer to his fund money, and he handles his finances now with his own little fund money. I wish every high school kid would have a fund money debit card. And you start teaching your kids now, treat it like a gift card. That's all you got. When the money's gone, you got to tell yourself no. You got to learn how to tell yourself no at some point in your life. Yeah.
I sent my son, we were down in Alabama, and I sent him to Texas and made sure he had cash. And like, we've done it before, and they ran out of cash. And so I sent him cash. I'm like all happy. And he gets to the airport and he called me. He's like, Mom, I can't buy anything. I said, what? It's like none of the airport vendors would accept cash. He had to have a card. So my poor kid starved at the airport because he did not get it. I thought I was being so good. So now anytime they go, I have a debit card that I just send with them so they can use it to just buy stuff at the airport. But it's crazy how many places now do not accept cash.
My last little comment. I love my sister so much. I wish that dieting could be this easy, that I could just push a button and so many calories go into my breakfast, so many calories go into my lunch, so many calories, and I just eat what's in those containers and I'm done for the day. That would be amazing. If we can figure out how to automate my budget, my food, like I do my budgeting, life would be easy. Okay. Anything else? We're at the time. Yeah.
A little off, but how do you have any ideas of building credit for the younger?
Of building up credit? The easiest way to build up credit is you can add a child to your credit card almost at any time. I think they have to be 12. You can add them to your credit card. So if you have good credit, this is the easiest way. Just add them to your account. Don't actually even give them the card, and they just start to adopt your credit. So when they're 18 and they go and get their own credit, they've already got your credit as a history because they were on your account. So that's the easiest way. Otherwise, you got to kind of wait until they're 18 to get their own card. But you can add them to your card at any time. And if you want to give them the card or not, that's up to you. Just know that if you've got bad credit, maybe don't do that to your kid to set them up. But if you've got great credit, it's a nice little gift. So I've added my kids to my credit accounts.
Asking, what if they were almost 18? I'm guessing it's in relation to what you're talking about now.
Yeah, you can add them to yours. They have to be 18 generally to get their own credit card. Yeah. Well, if you don't let them go out and spend stuff, no, just adding them doesn't affect yours. Just don't let them go hog wild and buy stuff, then it will.
Okay, I guess the question is it worth adding them now as being under 18, or do you?
It doesn't. I mean, if you have great credit, sure. I mean, it's an easy like phone call. It's pretty simple to do. Add it, because otherwise, when they go on their own, they may not have any credit histories. They may be denied when they try. Then you got to get a secured credit card for like 6 months, and then they get a real credit card. So it'll just speed up the process for them and give them whatever credit yours is. So good credit question. I talk to students all the time about credit. Anything else?